Georgia Bulldogs favored by 3, over under of 52.5. Before we get to some of our player props, Bud, why don't you lead us off? You got any like first quarter, first half? Anything real sicko that you're going to jump on for this game? Predict the game script, hit an alt line.
I actually want to go last. I'm waiting for some of these alts and stuff to pop up. Maybe they'll pop up during the show. Let me go last.
Okay, Danny.
So I've been giving out, like, on a couple, radio interviews that we do. We all kind of do these cross. I've been giving out, if it's under 3, if it's 2.5, lay the 2.5 with Georgia. If it gets over 3 or 3.5, I kind of like Bama. I do think it's going to be that tight. For our locks purposes, I don't have a lock on the side, but I do like the under, and I probably lean to the first half under ahead of the total of the game under. So that would be a lock for me, would be the first half under, which I'm seeing at 26.
I can get you 26.5.
I like
Even better. I just think the defensive adjustments that'll be taking place here, we were talking about it earlier about how you got film, you got some of those bunch looks to look at, you got the personnel. No Mechie, I do think will slow down Bama's offense somewhat. And I do think that Georgia will probably try to limit Stetson Bennett. I don't think they're going to go out there and be taking a ton of shots. They'll dial them up exactly when they need to. And I think they might look at what they just did against Michigan, who had a really strong front seven, and they're like, nope, we're just going to bully you, and we're going to try to do that. I think they might try to do that against Alabama.
Tom, what are you thinking?
Oh, man, I don't really love anything. That's the problem. Like, when it comes to the spread and the total, I'm not really super excited about either of the options. I, for the purpose of the show, I'll lock up Georgia -3, but I'm not highly confident in it. I think that Georgia could win, but I feel like if Georgia wins, it's going to be close because it's probably going to be a lower scoring game because that's the way Georgia's going to want to play it. If Alabama wins, I don't think it'd be as close. I think it'd be a higher scoring game, and Alabama kind of pulls away, kind of looks like what the first game did. So here's what I would do. I would go Georgia -3.
They're at 2.5 now, aren't they?
Is there a 2.5
yeah,
out there?
I'm looking at our William Hill. Caesars has 2.5.
There's
there we
2.5 out there.
Give me the 2.5. Here's what I'm going to do. They're not up yet, bud. Sorry, I'm still waiting to. I am going to take Georgia -2.5, and then I'm going to take Alabama -6.5.
Yeah.
Because if Alabama wins,
I think it's going to be by a touchdown at least.
Yeah. Alabama plus the points. Can I get a +3? We still got any +3?
Oh, yeah.
Alabama plus the points. Alabama money line sprinkle. And I like the first half under, but I think I'm going to follow along with the point that was made earlier in the chat. I think that this game ends up getting just a little bit loose in the second half, and 52.5 is pretty low. Like you said, last 3 have gone over 60. And so if I've got a full touchdown from that number, and I know what Bryce Young's explosiveness can be, I just think there's too many touchdowns out there available with all of the speed. It's a little bit, I used it as like an exhibition game, but still from that same idea. It's like, there's just too many good players on the field. This game is in a vacuum. It's so unique. The idea that one miscommunication, one busted coverage, one bad angle on a tackle, when both teams are this good, I'm going to go ahead and I will take the over 52.5 to go with my Alabama +3.
So my numbers say Georgia. They also said Georgia the first time, right? And I do think there's an element here where Georgia's faced kind of one quarterback this year who's worth a damn. That's too strong. They faced one like legitimate, no doubt NFL quarterback and a bunch of guys who are somewhere between bad to decent. And
who was that? Who are you categorizing that?
I mean, I think Hooker is decent
me too.
for a college quarterback, but like it's also that Baylor system where you can be decent or great and you're still going to put up huge numbers. It's kind of a hack for CFP with the hash marks, and I think Mullen's offense back then was, pretty good, although they were starting to a little bit implode there. I mean, I don't really want to bet anything on this, which is kind of crazy. There's some stuff I would consider though. I would take a shot at under 27 first half. Like just if you guys just want got some walking around money. There's I think 227s out there right now. So that's kind of an important number, I would say, for a first half. Like I wouldn't be playing 25s. If you can take under 10.5 first half if you think that both teams kind of have a little more feeling out thing. But Bama and Georgia have both gone quite a bit of tempo early in games of late. So that kind of scares me off of that somewhat.
Did you mean quarter?
Yeah,
quarter.
First quarter under 10.
Yeah. Right. Sorry. I think some alt lines could be interesting here for sure. Like, how do you game script this? Is there a chance that Georgia blows out Alabama?
No.
You know,
No way. I will say, listen, a blowout would involve, in my opinion, an injury or a complete implosion at quarterback for Bryce Young. Like I don't see a scenario where Bryce Young is on the field playing 4 quarters of healthy football and getting blown out of the water. It might feel like a blowout in a 10-point Georgia win, but I just think that boy too good. He's too we just saw, like you mentioned it, plays where he was even just taken off and running ended up being some of the biggest expected points added and win probability added. Like those moments where he is the most outstanding player in college football and can just make things happen in a way that nobody else on the field can. So I think that of all the results, if you're talking about alt lines, I feel the most confident that this is not going to be a 21-point dog walking from, no pun intended, Georgia on Alabama.
You can get Georgia minus 9.5 at plus 200.
Possible, but you know, Bama could also blow these guys out.
Yeah.
I think that's more likely.
Man.
I mean, there's no way this is going to be easy. Georgia with all the Georgia in the air, there is no way it's going to be easy. And I think that I'm picking Alabama to win, but Georgia winning would not be a surprise at all. And it would be monumental for that program, for that head coach, and very interesting in terms of throwing us a little bit of curveball, a new item in the script, and the way that we talk about SEC football and college football at the national level. But it ain't going to be easy.
I see one book offering Alabama minus 6.5 at plus 195. They go up to 7.5 at plus 240.
Do you take so you can get Bama minus 3 plus 160. Would you go 6.5 for an additional 35 cents? I would not. You're selling what, 7 half points there?
Yeah.
For an average of only 5 cents. I think that's
not really worth
although,
it.
5's a dead, 4's not totally dead, but somewhat dead. 6.5.
I'm so glad I've got you guys. I took 0 math classes after AP Stat in high school.
All right, so what I was doing there is basically saying, like, what is the value of a half point if I was going to buy it? What's the value of a half point if I'm going to sell it? You're essentially selling 7 half points to go from 3 to 6.5, right? 3.5 points is 7 half points. And so then I'm thinking, hey, like, what would I rather play there, right? Minus 3 plus, or so, I mean, if you think about this.
Speaking of 3s and 7s, how about both these kickers aren't great? They're not bad, but they are both kind of middle of the row in terms of percentage on their field goal attempts in the SEC.
Yeah, but nobody misses kicks against Alabama.
Well, and Alabama never misses kicks, right?
Mm-hmm. No, Alabama misses them all the time. Nobody misses them against Alabama. Every kicker is just money against Alabama.
I think I would rather play the minus 3 at plus 160 than the 6.5 at 195.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
But it's not as fun.